Guys, Atomic Heart is causing a lot of issues in the gaming world. So much so that an entire country wants this to be banned. You can see Ukraine is asking for an Atomic Heart ban from Sony, Microsoft, and Valve. Holy crap. You read that right. Never in the history that I can recall, maybe it's happened, I can never recall an entire country asking for a game to be banned. It's one thing, people are out there saying boycott Hogwarts. Streamers, whatever, consumers. It's one thing for them to be like, hey, don't support this game. Let's boycott it. But for an entire country to ask three of the biggest gaming platforms in the world to totally ban an entire game, you have to start taking note. Now, I am in no way promoting going to war. I'm in no way promoting communism or any of that. But when you see stuff like this, when you see people throwing a ban hammer on entertainment, movies, music, TV, whatever it is, you have to take note at all realms of possibilities on why or what's behind the reason for this, what has people upset, because this is like nothing else I haven't seen. So I touched on this yesterday. I made a video talking about some of the controversies, the concerns for Atomic Heart. I'm going to pull up this quick article just so you guys can kind of get a little bit of a refresher recap. I'm not going to stick too long on this because I want to look at the ban that's being proposed. But basically, in a nutshell, the fact that this game has to do with Russia and takes place in Russia, and it's in the wake of the Ukraine war, basically they're getting scrutiny for it. So there was rumors that started to come in about investors for Mundfish, who are the developers, and that people feel that this game is helping fund war. That if you support this game, if you buy into it, you're investing in a company that is profiting off of the Ukraine war, and that it's going towards helping Russia. There was other allegations as well. But at the end of the day, it comes down to Russia's bad, Ukraine's good. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm not going to give my personal thoughts on what I truly think about the war, other than the pandering for Ukraine has been a little bit too much as of late, especially when we keep giving billions and billions of fucking dollars to them, but we have homeless veterans on the streets in the United States. And that's all I'll say. But yeah, there's a lot of issues here. So you can see it even came up to the point where people were demanding a response to the Ukraine war. And you can see Mundfish right here put a statement out, which wasn't good enough to them. You see, they said, guys, we noted the questions surrounding where we at Mundfish stand. We want to assure you that Mundfish is a developer and studio with a global team focused on an innovative game and is undeniably a pro-peace organization against violence against people. Now, this basically didn't fly in the woke, culture, the cancel crowd, the people that have the Ukraine flag in their Twitter bios. This wasn't good enough, despite them saying they don't condone it. I think they even moved locations out of Russia. So they basically, if you follow this, it just goes into all this past history with Russia and everything that they've done in the past, and that, their investors at Mundfish are supposedly involved with a company, and that they feel that they are pro-state, they're pro-Russia state, and it's just a mess, honestly. It's like a whole bunch of things going into question, and I get it. There's a reason why to be under fire, and what's going on with everything like that. But I played this game for a few hours, honestly, and I feel that it wasn't Russia propaganda. I played it 4 hours on stream. I feel it wasn't Russia propaganda. There was nothing in there that looked like it was pushing the war against Ukraine. I get it. It's a Russian development team. So, of course, if it's going to take place in Russia, it's going to have Russian imagery. Was it as far as like propaganda? Not really. At the beginning, yeah, it had like a parade and stuff, but then the AI attacks you and the robots are against you and your character just is trying to make it out alive. So I didn't really see that. But back to the thing right here. Let's talk about this. So this says Ukraine wants Atomic Heart banned and will send an official request to Sony, Microsoft, and Valve to pull the game off their storefronts. The country wants its distribution limited because the developer of the game, Mundfish, allegedly has ties to Russian state-owned energy corporation Gazprom. So Gazprom apparently has ties with Mundfish. So it's a government-owned company that is allegedly having ties with the developer. Additionally, when asked, the developer hasn't outright denounced the invasion of Ukraine, which leads many to believe Mundfish either supports it or is ambivalent about it. So that's the problem, right? And this was announced back in 2018. And that's one thing that a lot of people in my stream were saying, that this was way before the war of Ukraine, which is a valid point. It's been, 5-6 years in development, and to suddenly throw the allegations out there and stuff, this is typical, honestly, because it is a sensitive, hot topic. Again, I didn't see anything that I think would have this game need to be censored or banned. It wasn't hateful. I've seen more hateful games that are on the storefronts on Steam than what I saw on Atomic Heart, just to throw it out there. Going on, this says they have allegedly received funds from Gazprom and state-owned pro-Russian companies. Despite being officially headquartered in Cyprus, the dev team is allegedly predominantly Russian. They said, we also called for limiting... this is Ukraine Deputy Minister of Digital Affairs, by the way, Alexander Bornyakov. They made this statement. We call for limiting the distribution of this game in other countries due to its toxicity, which I didn't see that, potential collection of user data, and the possibility of transferring it to third parties in Russia, as well as the potential use of money raised from game purchases to wage war in Ukraine, which, okay, that's some huge allegations from a fucking government to be throwing at a video game developer. Real quick, though, the people that are throwing, like, the rage fits, these people that are boycotting it from the United States, let's say SAWs or whatever the hell, the pro-Ukraine side of people that are boycotting Atomic Heart, saying that it's bad to play this game. Collection of user data is an interesting thing because a lot of these people used a thing called TikTok, and that's been alleged to be giving our data to China, which is also a communist country. So, again, I feel some people are picking and choosing. I think ultimately what a lot of this has to do with is the pandering that this side tends to do towards Ukraine. You can also see that there's a character in the game that seems to be based on a former Ukrainian prime minister, and that there's additional racist imagery that's been found among the cartoons that play in the game's save rooms. So, I don't know about this. You can look at the comments. There's people that are, like, totally shitting on it. You could see ambivalent about it. So what? I swear this political posturing about Ukraine is so out of hand. It's a video game company. People don't look to them for their ideas of world politics. And I think that is a huge... hitting the nail on the head right there. Who would have thought in 2023 that video games would be causing such a stir? Back to back, too. Again, like, Hogwarts Legacy was one thing. We don't see the trans cult coming after this game. Now we see the Ukraine allies, I guess. The people that have the Ukraine flags in their Twitter bios that want to pander and give everything to them, but not to their own country. I wish people had the same energy for the United States of America and funding things here and protecting it than they do. So Ukraine has much bigger things than any video games. They might want to think they're priorities. A Russian company is inevitably going to have ties to Russian wars. The people making this game didn't decide on war, and sales of game won't turn the war. Doesn't Ukraine still transfer Russian natural gas through its land? So you can see people are calling it out for a game to be the problem with war. Like they're acting like this game is going to single-handedly fund and change the tide of war. This game has nothing to do with the fucking war. Why are people like? It's always like video games become this entertainment medium that just becomes so fucking controversial, and that it has to be fucking censored, controlled, and regulated by people to the point where a fucking government is stepping in. Like, why isn't the Ukraine government stepping in about running their own goddamn country or figuring out other things? Like, how is a game that is on a fucking digital storefront going to be causing so much controversy that it needs to have a total ban? Is what I want to fucking know. Like, this whole ban and call for censorship and controversy against this game makes absolutely no goddamn sense to me. It really doesn't. Can somebody explain it to me without being a jerk off in the comments, please? Because allegedly and doing something are two different things. So if this company's just had allegations, that doesn't mean they're guilty of something. It's innocent until proven guilty. I personally didn't see anything that caused me to be like, okay, this game is hateful. It's promoting against Ukraine. It's propaganda. Like, to me, it was just a game that takes place in fucking Russia. Are we going to ban everything now? Because if we ban one thing, you know how it goes. They move the fucking goalpost. You take an inch, you give an inch, they take a mile. All right? So what next? What are we going to boycott next? Is every single game that has some kind of thing that tickles somebody's asshole wrong going to be banned going forward for whatever reason? We had the LGBTQ stuff with Hogwarts. Now we're having anti-Ukraine shit. What the fuck is next? That's what I want to know.